There was a TV show on 30 plus years ago. It ran for 7 seasons. It was hugely popular. It resulted in 4 feature films being made with the cast of the original TV show. And because the fourth film wasn't as successful, maybe as the studio would have liked, the show just ended. They had sort of wrapped up the storyline with the characters, but for many fans, it wasn't very satisfying. People loved those characters and they wanted a sense of closure. Spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about Star Trek Picard and the idea of how important closure is in our lives and how we can consciously develop a mindset that allows us to always have closure no matter what happens. Welcome to Everyday a New Thought. I'm Thor Chalgren. Yes, I'm going to talk about a TV show, Star Trek Picard. It just ended, so I don't think I'm going to be doing too much spoilering of the show, but I highly recommend it. I'll say that for me personally, I'm not on the spectrum of people who are huge fans of Star Trek. I very much like the show, and I like what they did with those characters, but I wouldn't say I'm sort of the huge Trekker, but it was meaningful to me. And so I was watching every episode as the show just concluded. And it essentially, this is the spoiler alert, they brought back many of the characters from the original TV show. And I found it very satisfying. Each character had a meaningful contribution to the storyline. And there's a real sense of closure, not only for each of them, but for that sort of family of characters. In short, it was nothing like in real life. It's kind of funny. I thought about this after the show and I thought, why does this affect me? And I, assuming many people, so much. We watch this and we get that sense that these characters finally had a sense of completion, a sense of closure where we left them in a good place. And I thought, our lives are nothing like that. They're often very messy. We have relationships with people that end suddenly. We have losses where we maybe didn't get to say something to someone that we wanted to, or we regret not being able to see them that one last time. So I think in some ways, this is why movies and TV shows can be so popular, because there's a wish fulfillment to them that we look at that and go, I wish my life was like that. And I think there is a way that life can actually be like that to an extent. A friend was recently sharing about his own loss and how he had this sense of, in the final moment with someone, it wasn't what he would have liked that moment to be. And he's thought about that ever since. And yes, it's not always possible to have that sense of presence of mind, to be in the moment where you appreciate everything about a situation and the people in it. But to the extent that you can, you're always going to have closure, because that moment in and of itself was perfect. Now, I want to distinguish. It doesn't have to be the perfect movie moment where everything is great about that moment. But when you are conscious, when you are 100% invested in every moment where you live your life and the relationships that you have and the things that you do, you can always look back at that moment and go, you know what? It was perfect as it was. I don't need to relive that or seek a new sense of closure for that moment, because it was perfect just as it was. So how do you apply this? Well, take the conversation you have with someone. Don't ever walk away with a sense of ambiguity or a lack of clarity or anger or confusion that you might have with someone in a conversation. If there's something that's unresolved, try to resolve it. You know, when filming a TV show, they often film multiple takes of a scene over and over until the actor, the director, everyone's happy with the result of what they got. I think we can take the same idea in our own life. If there's a moment where you feel like, you know what, that wasn't a good take, and what I just said there, I'd like to redo that take. Ask for that moment. Say, you know what, hold on a second. I'd like to redo that. I'd like to re-say that, rethink that, say it better, be more connected. So don't be afraid to ask for a second take. Don't be afraid to ask for an opportunity to say something better, to express how you really feel. When you're present in every moment, when you give your best in every moment, you're going to create a life that's not filled with regret. And you will, in fact, have the perfect closure you need in every moment. That's the episode for today. If you like the show, please hit like if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, please subscribe or follow the show on your favorite podcast app. Until tomorrow, thanks for watching.